It really is amazing that we've come this long and Davos is still around on Game of Thrones.
Well, it's like I said, he's a survivor. And that's why the producers picked me. I just have this knack for surviving.
So you knew going in that you had a good shot of living through the end?
I've survived many things, not just Game of Thrones.
Wait, what have you survived?
Well, first job, I was an electrician. One of the places I looked after was a national park in Zimbabwe. And I stopped 16,000 elephants trying to kill me. I've survived snakes, bad fermented crab, grayscale, velociraptors, exploding Segway.
All on the show?
No, this is in the last week in LA. Spring break 1996, that was the fact that I'm even standing here after that spring break it's even astonishing to me. Plane crash, car crash, boat crash, goat crash, aliens, earthquakes, lightning strikes. And last night I was out for dinner, about 10 of us, 9 of them got food poisoning. I was the only one that walked away with his pants untainted. I had a sore tummy this morning. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was expecting both ends to release. Got away with them. Anything could happen, admittedly. Hurricanes, the undead, underground people.
Welcome to IGN Watch Party presented by, what? Dang it! Welcome to IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones presented by Army National Guard. I'm Sydney Goodman. This is Nick Mundy.
I'm fired. Call your mom. Call your mom.
And we've got here, right here.
Wow.
And our special guest today is Dave Demeshek. NFL podcast fame and the host of Thunder. That's a great name. You should name this show. Just kidding, this show has a great name. Oh, oops.
Sydney, we're live.
It's the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones. That is right. It is the last one before the last one. Oh my gosh. And every week, HBO releases some teaser images for the next episode. We asked you to caption a photo of Tyrion glancing off into the distance. Let's check in with our social squire, Jeffrey. Vega, what you got for me?
Social kink, but I digress. At Guts3062 said, when you realize you're trying to convince a queen not to kill everyone in a city you used to wish everyone was dead in? You know, very relatable.
Yeah, these images are getting so spoilery. I can't believe how much that one gave away. Tyrion's in the show still? What?
That was just a shot of the writers being like, yeah, we don't know what we're doing.
Like, oh
It's getting iffy. Okay, you're the one who was just like, the writers, they're ruining the show.
No, it's
just
doing
wait
great.
for George.
Why are you? You're the one who's saying it now. I don't.
No, now I'm
think I
saying
heard
it.
any
Okay,
of that.
kids, calm down. So at this point, everyone has their favorite for the Iron Throne, and through the magic of face-swapping power, we can hear from the competitors themselves. Time now for our Iron Throne candidate debate.
Jon Snow, so beautiful.
Hear me out. Sometimes knowing nothing is absolutely great. It's what you want in a leader. In times of incredible strife, hysterical Lady Tyrants, and a seemingly non-existent existential threat, don't you want a sensible, middle-of-the-road candidate who just goes with the flow? The Night King is dead. The realm doesn't need a spine. Sure, I'm carrying on an awkward sexual relationship with a woman who turned out to be my aunt, but there's not really an upside to that, so King in the North?
This is what Westeros needs.
Oh, Sydney, where'd you go there for a second? Yeah,
You're coming.
Yeah,
All right, I don't wanna
I'm
do
being
it.
a good. Well, no, I'm
now.
being a good I'm
Thanks.
shaking.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
You guys can't see it, but we're shaking hands.
What good candidacy?
I don't like this.
What's that called? It's good teamwork.
I don't like this at all.
Sansa, you're so beautiful.
All right. Women get shit done. You feel me? And not just because we experience all the awful stuff in this realm, okay? While Danny over there is getting her dragons getting killed, John is doing the dirty with his aunt, and I'm here, worried about armies and supplies and stuff. And even though they only showed it in the making of the episode footage, I killed a white or two. All right? Honestly, I'm just gonna straight up say it. I'm the Solange Knowles of Winterfell. Every bit as capable, and maybe even a teensy tiny bit more talented. Someone wrote this, I didn't write that. But I don't need all the hype. I just make music, okay? So don't count out this little bird. Sansa's coming for you, suckers.
Say that whole thing.
That was very good. And not creepy.
Totally normal.
Totally normal.
Have some food on your lip.
am important. Okay, sure, I do nothing, but like in an active way. It's a choice, one that keeps you out of the melee and exactly in the right spot to become the king. That's right. Creep Maester Bran has got a plan. I mean, what else could the answer be? I'm the last true-born male heir of Ned and Catelyn Stark, technically making me the Lord of Winterfell. Sorry, Sansa. Also, did I mention I can see past, present, and future? What more do you need in a ruler? Sure, I'm creepy. You know who else is creepy? Pretty much anybody who wants to be in charge of anything ever. Sorry, gang, but the future isn't Mad Queen or Jon Snow. It's Three-Eyed Brandon.
Soul patches have never been cool.
Like ever.
I mean, like 1997.
Hello, fellow Westerosians, or Westerosburgers, or Westeroni. One thing a politician needs is the ability to drink. Booze, I mean. Also, I'm quite adept at being a hand, which is ironic given that my brother doesn't have one. Also, I have a very odd accent, don't I? It's not quite British. Of course, there's no such thing where we live, but I sound quite silly, don't I? Sort of like Joe Namath after a few too many ales, or wines, or both. Anywho, I should be king, even though it'd be redundant with the Lord of Rings when my cousins the Hobbits kind of sort of were the heroes of that one. Anywho, I look forward to seeing you upon the Iron Throne. Good day.
I'm not voting for any of them.
Just like run away. Okay, so everyone wants to know who's going to take the Iron Throne, obviously. Dave, I know you have been keeping a close eye on the actual Vegas odds for who's going to take the throne. Can you help us play some bets?
Let's take a look at the odds here. And right at the top there, those are the favorites. Bran, Sansa, Jon Snow, of course, they're at the top. But this would be like betting on the Yankees or Golden State or Alabama to win in their sports. There's no fun in that. You also don't want to go all the way down to the bottom there. I don't think Gilly or Tormund or those guys are going to win. In fact, we'll talk about the Hound in a little bit and the fate that I suspect awaits him. Look right in the middle there. I think that's the best bet. Sam, he's the smartest guy in all the kingdoms out there. If history of man needs to be rewritten, I think he'd be a good place to start. If you have a dark streak in you, maybe Cersei wins it. I find that hard to imagine myself, but that says something negative about you, I think. And who knows, maybe Brienne of Tarth. Now she's a knight, perhaps soon she shall be queen.
Can we just talk about the fact that dead Peter Baelish has pretty good odds to end up on the Iron Throne?
And where's Grey Worm? Grey Worm's not even in contention. He's behind dead people.
And for the record, Jon and Daenerys' baby, not officially confirmed yet, if ever.
But they're on the board.
But on the board.
Terry, let me borrow $5,000.
Sorry.
No questions.
Did you say you wanted a grande?
Oh, Jon.
Well,
we don't have time for
this. It's time for the next segment. So, it's now time for this week's edition of Gaming of Thrones. Let's head over to the board. it this time. Okay, so let's make some bets about tonight's episode. Let's start up at the top. We'll start with you, Dave. Arya, will she wear someone's face?
Like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2, I think that she will. In fact, it's my greatest regret of the season so far. Presumably, she had to have put on a face to get to the Night King, right? Why did the writers deprive us of getting to see that? I hope they make amends this time around.
Why,
I'm going to
Terry?
say yes.
Yeah, Terry, tell us why.
Because they don't.
You can also tell us, do you think Arya will wear someone's face?
I do because,
sorry,
gosh darn it, it hasn't technically happened on screen yet this season, and we only have 2 more episodes to go. So by Vegas betting odds, which I learned about today, I think I have a pretty good shot of getting it right, maybe.
Alrighty, Nick, what about ya?
As the winner of last week's game, I'm gonna say no, because when she kills Cersei tonight, she's gonna want to see Cersei's, she's gonna want Cersei to see her face, not like the mountain's face.
Oh,
But
so
she
Her
still
face.
could wear a face.
I like that.
No,
I'm gonna
I said
say-
no.
Okay.
I'm gonna say she is going to wear a face though, because I think it'd be very disappointing if she didn't. Okay, so the Clegane Bowl is something we're all looking forward to. Do you think we're gonna get it? Dave, starting with you.
I feel almost certain that we will finally get that brother showdown, and it's a sad bit of irony on Mother's Day that one, if not both of her sons, her beautiful boys, are gonna perish tonight of all nights.
Listen, Clegane Bowl hype. It's over 9,000. It's an all-time high. My favorite internet video of all time was made 4 years ago called Clegane Bowl Hype. Please find it and watch it, but don't leave this watch party. Watch it instead of Game of Thrones in a little bit.
Yeah, do it later.
And it's so good, and I want it to finally happen. And if not tonight, then when? So the writers have been giving us everything we want this season, so why not Clegane Bowl? So yes.
Okay.
I don't know if they have been
Gonna put
giving
you
us
down
everything we want.
on yes.
It's been like one big monkey paw,
Do you remember when not
say
only
monkey
Arya
paw?
and Gendry, but also Jaime and Brienne actually had sex and consummated their feelings?
I don't
Did
know
we want that? Did anyone want that?
I didn't want Brienne,
that.
no. And
What?
I don't want the Mountain and the Hound to have
I was really
sex
upset
either.
about that.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Things
not
are
what
getting
Clegane Bowl is.
spicy.
We'll fill you in on
Nick.
it later.
The
Clegane
Clegane Bowl will not happen because this season's been very disappointing.
Your
wow.
favorite watch party. The
So I think it will happen. Nick, you're kind of separating yourself here.
Very much.
Will Jaime kill Cersei? Sorry, I just cut you off. You can you may finish your sentence if you please.
Jaime's not going to kill Cersei yet because he loves her. He loves her.
Oh.
Other people are going to kill Cersei.
So that's a no. And then Terry, sorry, I guess we're snaking it back around.
I like it. I also will go with no because I like the theory that it will be Arya who kills Cersei. She is on her list, and I think that she will make good on that promise. Fingers crossed.
And Dave, what about you?
People gotta start dying, and tonight's the night. And I think that Cersei's gonna die, but I don't think it's gonna be by Jaime's good hand.
I like the sentiment though. People do gotta start dying.
Yeah, Dave was like, hey, I want to get on the show, but not until like the 4th or 5th episode when people die. I don't want to be on one of those bottle episodes. I want when someone dies.
That's true. The first 2 episodes, we didn't really have anyone.
Not a lot indeed. You could say that they are too afraid to kill people.
Well, we got 2 more to go.
But I will say no, I don't think Jaime kills Cersei either. Okay, we got a couple more. Will Dany go full Mad Queen this episode? I'll start with you, Dave.
I mean, I don't even know what we're waiting for. She already has. I mean, it's anticlimactic almost to ask full Mad. She's gone baddie. She's now ready to attack. Last time we saw her storming off. By the way, more upset about the death of Miss Andy than she was one of her children, the dragon, if you notice that.
Yeah.
She wasn't really stewing until Miss Andy got her headlock.
Well, it is a dragon.
Yeah, it's one of
Excuse me?
her children.
That's like, yeah.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah.
yes, I'm with you.
Wait, so
I'm with
Dave,
you.
are you a yes or no?
I am.
You're like an already there.
You're
She's
yes 'cause
there.
she's
Yes,
already
yes,
there.
she's mad
Yeah.
already, but she'll be madder, I guess.
Okay.
She's gonna
I like
get
that.
really steamed tonight.
Steamy. Terry, what about you?
I'm gonna go with no, but mostly
Okay.
out of wish fulfillment because I've been very much on the Daenerys is unwittingly following in the footsteps of her father theory train for a while now. But I think it's just too easy for it all really to happen over the course of like an episode and a half. And I hope there's some more complexity there for both her and Cersei to not just be one-dimensional characters. So fingers crossed, that's a no. But it
Gotcha.
probably will be a yes.
I will go back to you, Nick, but I'd just like to jump the boat real quick
Sure.
and say you will probably be disappointed, Terry, and I'm gonna put a yes there. Nick, where do you fall?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with yes. I was a no, then Terry just talked me out of it.
Okay, so will Grey Worm get revenge? Dave, looking at you.
I think so, and as I'm sitting here right now, I've come to realize, maybe it's the dragon eggs right in front of us, it would be really disappointing if the greatest kill that the 3 dragons had, okay, the dead dragon knocked out the wall, and then one of the good dragons burned the brother and father of Sam. If that's their best kill, what a disappointment. I say Cersei gets it from the dragon. And
I actually never thought about it that way.
So
The
it won't be
dragons
Grey
haven't-
Worm who does it. It will be it'll be the only surviving dragon.
Okay, but you're saying he gets revenge because Cersei dies.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, well, I
He's
guess
also going to die.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Terry,
probably.
what do you think? Does Grey Worm
yeah,
get
I guess
revenge?
we aren't like defining it as getting revenge as killing Cersei. I think he'll get some good revenge this episode and probably go out dying.
Okay, so he'll get something.
He'll get something.
Nick, what about you?
Yeah, but revenge against who? It's not gonna be Cersei. It's not gonna be the mountain. Like, what, the gate? Like, he's just gonna really attack the gate hard?
Yeah, he's
Like,
gonna
no.
attack heights.
So it's a no?
His swords.
Yeah.
You're a little bit of like the black sheep here, but
Yeah,
I
you
respect
made that apparent when you threw dirt at me today.
I respect it. I don't know. I guess it depends because, like you said, we didn't really. Revenge is a little loosely defined here. I'm gonna say no because I just think he's gonna end up being generally unhappy, aka dead. So, bonus, almost just tripped over this. That would have been a fun show. How many major characters will die tonight? Will we finally see those sweet, sweet deaths? Dave, starting with you.
I mean, hard to put a number on it, but I suspect it will be the most character deaths, not the
You gotta
extra.
pick a number.
But yeah,
you
but
gotta
all
pick
right.
a number.
I'm gonna
I don't have
go-
most. I only have numbers.
I'm gonna go. You know what? It's gonna be a healthy amount. I'm gonna go with like 8. How about that?
Oh, baby.
And it's gonna be
This
these
much
8 right here.
fudge. Okay.
Whoa.
Most of them
Dora's
are dead.
already dead, so you already have that
8.
one for you.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask myself yet. Terry, how are you feeling?
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay.
But I think I've gotten them right on like gut instinct the past
You actually
couple weeks,
have.
so-
I think you've gotten the most of these character deaths right.
Yeah.
Nick?
I'm gonna go with 4.
All of them.
Okay.
Glad
Can't
you got
say
more
I'm
8s.
surprised.
Just all of them.
We'll just put that there. I think we are going to see. Well, I have to count. I think we're going to see. Oh, I don't want to choose 4 also. I'll do 3, but know that I meant 4.
3. These 2 in my hand right here are going out. They're,
Yeah.
Save it for the-
Varys is supposed to be
I
dying
hope you're
this
on
season.
dies. I'd be so stoked about that. He sucks. Let's do something else. It's time to venture beyond the wall. Follow me. I just wanted to show off my sleeves.
6 good steps.
I'm wearing heels, so I have to take small steps. Okay, so we're doing hot takes beyond the wall. Dave, as our special guest.
Well, like I say, medieval Bam Margera is checking out, as will many others. I think that, as we already discussed, the Mountain and the Hound will finally tangle. I suspect that the Hound
Tangle, I like
will
that.
die unsatisfied because the Mountain is going to take him out. Then the Hound's best pal, Arya, is going to come and avenge her pal's death and take out the Mountain. I think that's what's going to happen. And I also have a feeling, not Terry, but I think at least one of these 2 cries tonight.
Oh, I hope I cry. I want to
Oh,
cry so
bold.
hard.
I'm gonna
I
cry.
want to cry.
I'm gonna cry
Where's Tyrion?
too because they just keep saying you're the black sheep. You're the black sheep.
I have
Yeah, you're
never
the black
said that.
sheep.
I've never said that. Well,
No, I would love to cry. I think that sounds great. I want all of my favorite characters to die, and I just want to be super upset,
Well, you're Game of Thrones
and
character.
it's going to be great. Okay, so Terry and Nick, I want to ask about your hot takes,
Yeah.
but I actually don't because I've become prepared. You have given us really well-written videos the last few weeks, and I just want to show you that I can do that too. So get ready. Let's roll it. Okay, so we all saw the cup. Very funny, big mistake by the show, right? Wrong. This is Game of Thrones, guys. They don't make mistakes. What if the appearance of that coffee cup wasn't an accident? What if it was a clue, a prophetic foreshadowing of Dany's true destiny? In season 1, Daenerys walks into the fire. Light-haired Daenerys burning in fire. You know what that is? A blonde roast. You know what the Dothraki word is for the biggest coffee you can order?
Khaleesi!
It's been there all along. When Dany says,
I was born to rule the Seven Kingdoms.
what she really means is, I will open the first fully franchised retail coffee chain in Westeros. Dany's true destiny? Java. I went back and rewatched some scenes, and honestly, it's pretty crazy that we missed it.
Is it done then? They belong to me. Tindas lysa ser tida.
Satida.
This is done.
Pero si tioni. Espero zia zantir.
Dovageris! Naidon mevatas!
Vetra, j'espère divito magis.
Zaldrizes buzdaris kosdaur.
Itraji valere.
Valeria munioengos nuihis isa. Axiosentas, mentiosentas. Kiloni pilos luevale tolviosenetas. Urnei luei dolere prisotas.
Tesena!
Dracaris.
See? It was right there in front of us the whole time. Daenerys Stormborn, mother of beans. I mean, no offense to you guys' theories, but like,
I just can't believe I missed that so much on my recent rewatch.
I can.
it's easy to miss. Only the keenest of eyes can really pick up that.
But there were subtitles that I just completely misread at the time.
Like I said, I don't blame you, Terry. It's really, you shouldn't blame yourself. It's not your fault.
I watch the show for the market-driven, economic profiles.
I mean, she really should have just stayed in Essos. She had that market cornered, and turns out they're tea drinkers.
You
in
can't
Westeros.
grow as a business if you just stay in Essos.
We got a business man on our hands.
Yeah, business.
Okay, so in all seriousness, rewatching that made me remember how likable Dany once was. Like, what happened to her? Do you think, okay, I know we kind of talked about, is she going to go full mad? But like, how, she obviously, I agree with you, she's kind of mad. How mad are we going to see her get?
The thing about Daenerys is that she always has had this streak of being a tyrant, and she's always made these bold decisions that we have applauded her for because they weren't in the context of other characters who we actually liked. And it's only when we see her actually in scenes up against your Sansas, your Jons, even your Cerseis, that I think you kind of realize that she has had those tendencies all along. But I'm with you, Sydney. I never thought I would have flipped the switch so fast on Daenerys that I'm like, done with it, like over it, would rather have any of these other people. And I've said this before, I've said this on previous episodes, we've been making jokes about the writing and everything, but like, I really wish this season hadn't been so condensed, because I wish we'd had more time and more than like an episode and a half to really sit in it as viewers and be like, wait, we have been championing her for so long, and now we're already turning on her too. I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and I think she has that tendency. But
Okay. Hear me out. This might be.
right,
I have a new hot take. Okay, Varys is gonna
You
die.
have- I
That's
like
the old
it.
hot
Give
take.
him the flame.
Okay. So what if everyone is like, okay, thinking, okay, they think my dad's a dick. They knew my dad was a dick. I am like from family of assholes. What if, she's like playing against everyone's expectations? Like, she's playing up the mad thing. She's like, okay, people think I'm just gonna like zig, but then I'm gonna zag, and I've been just playing everyone. So she's not mad. She's actually clever and fooled everyone.
see, that's Cersei though. I think Daenerys has zero poker face.
I do too. I think she's dumb.
I think that's. Sorry.
Yeah, you win.
I think she is as sympathetic as she's been in quite some time, as a matter of fact. She's always been to me sort of like the New England Patriots. She's supposed to win. She had 3 dragons, she had the biggest army and everything else. Now she's vulnerable. At least she's now with only 1 dragon left and half the army decimated. She's sort of like the Patriots, but with Brian Hoyer starting. Sports fans?
But so
Sports
your
fans, guys,
logic.
It's like post ACL injury, Tom.
Yes.
But by
yes.
your logic, she'll still win.
No.
No, she has to die. She remains the Jesus figure. She's magical on some level. She has dragons and everything else going for her. That would be cheap for her to win. Like I say, I do think the guy who once was, the guy who killed other kings, who now only has that one hand, I wonder what's going to happen with him. We know that it used to be, at least, until this year, until this season, it was always that the evil people were the ones who rose to the top, and Varys is going to die because we found him to be very human and worried about the little people in the last episode. That means he's got to go. Jaime announced to Brienne, I'm not a good person. I hope he proves it for the integrity of the show. Tonight, I hope he shows I am still a bad person, whether it means killing his sister, who he is impregnated.
That's a good thing, though. Okay, well, this will go to my hot take.
I was just going to ask. Give us a hot
can't
take.
find a Tyrion, so just pretend that Tyrion's up here, too. So I have kind of wrestled with the Jaime and Brienne of it all last week because I really did like that Jaime brought up, again, he's not a good, that's kind of been Jaime's arc the whole time. He's a bad person who has become more organized and made better choices because he realized he was a bad person. He had that mirror kind of held up against him. Who is this?
Just creating the triangle.
Oh, yes, the beautiful love triangle. But I think there were a couple different ways to read Jaime's decision to leave Brienne last week. And one was that, I'm just going back.
There's another gentleman.
Get the flames away. Get the pictures.
Hey, Torm.
Oh my God.
What's up?
They're gonna have sex behind me. This is a G-rated show that we swear on sometimes. Anyway, so I think I read Jaime's decision to leave as him saying, I'm always going to be a bad person. I'm not good enough for you. Not that he was going to Cersei because he loved her or anything. I think he was going to try and do the last good thing. But I don't think he's going to be the one that kills Cersei. I think that Tyrion could have a hand in that because there's this popular fan theory that it's going to be one of Cersei's brothers who has to kill her. But maybe it's as simple as him distracting her and Arya comes in and kills her. But this is a very bad hot take because it's very all over the place, but I hope it's simpler than just Cersei dying. I don't necessarily want
I would agree with that.
Die.
Okay,
So,
who knows? If Bran inhabits somebody
wait, you're going
and
to
they
ask a
die,
question that sounds like it's a really complicated answer.
All right,
we don't have time for that. I was going to let you ask it, and then I heard Bran, and I was like, this sounds confusing. So you guys can all just guess what he was going to say. Let us know in the comments below. This should be obvious, but just to be clear, we're not streaming the episode here.
Wait, Sydney, where can they see the episode?
You gotta watch it on HBO. So watch it on HBO, please. IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones, presented by Army National Guard, will be back. We will be back after HBO's Inside the Episode. So make sure to join us. And after you've watched the episode, please send us your burning Thrones questions in the comment section, and we will do our best to answer it in the post show. See you on the other side.
I'm starting to think Daenerys is going to tear an ACL.
welcome to IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones, presented by Army National Guard. I am Sydney Goodman, and to my left is Nick Mundy. What's up? Oh, there he is.
The bigger bottle from last week.
We need it. And then we've got Terry Schwartz.
Hey, I can't believe how level you are right now. You're just reading.
It's my job. And our very special guest, Dave Demishek.
I got a shot at the throne, I think.
Well, we're all the so. Okay,
left.
you each have 5 seconds. Just give me a quick, how you feeling? We'll start with you, Nick. Pouring the wine.
Pass.
5 seconds.
Pass.
Terry.
I thought this was by far the best directed episode of the season and maybe of the show. I'd have to go back and look at it. I thought it was just exceptionally well directed and
That's
beautiful.
more than 5 seconds.
Okay.
After we saw so many other characters shrink, at least the dragon showed up and did what a dragon's supposed to do, right?
That's true. I feel like this. So let's just talk about the show now. Okay, so let's start death and destruction. It's something that happened.
I'm curious. So you seem frustrated.
I'm
and
extremely
disappointed.
frustrated. I don't know that disappointed is the word. I feel like they slapped me in the face with a fish.
That's what I want from Game of Thrones, though. So that we're still settling, obviously.
But I would argue it's in a different way than, the Red Wedding was something that hurt and it sucked and people were mad and whatever. But this to me feels really hollow and devoid of meaning. It feels kind of like the showrunners are done with the show and they're just trying to get it done as quickly as possible. Kind of like if you have a deadline coming up and you have to write an essay and it's 2 a.m. and you're like, wow, this is due in my 9 a.m. class. I'm gonna wait until 8 a.m. to start writing this paper.
Danny goes crazy.
And then
for
you
some
just kind of
reason.
bang on the keyboard, you don't even read it, and then you just put it out there.
Yeah, their justification in the inside the episode for why Danny decided to make it personal was very slim.
Can you go over that for us? Just because I want to make sure, just in case everybody else has.
We were in
Sure, I'll do the. I'm the reason that we're a couple
I
minutes.
wasn't trying to say that, but yes.
The TLDR is, and I'm doing a bad job paraphrasing it. Is that she saw the Red Keep, which was the symbol, was home. Her family made it and all this stuff, and for her it's this symbol of everything that was taken from her, and she sees it still standing there, and in that moment she's like, I'm gonna make this personal. And then they also said, Daenerys didn't have her advisors. They're all dead. Anyone who would talk her out of this, who she would trust normally. Hold on, Nick. I was asked for paraphrasing. I'm doing a bad job keeping it succinct. Yeah, if you want to. And then, so she didn't have any of them there. And they were saying that if any of these series of things hadn't happened, if Cersei hadn't betrayed her, if Cersei hadn't killed Missandei, if Jon hadn't done what she explicitly asked not to, we might not have seen that side of Daenerys, which I think, to your point, is kind of the bad storytelling we're feeling, because this should be something that was a bit more plotted than that, not something that it feels like a switch was flipped in this episode.
Totally. Nick?
Yeah, for a show that, and Daenerys, who has been clever and, tricked people and maybe outsmarted people, or however you want to put it, has amassed success over and over again. And even that episode, the start of the battle was very clever, how she used the sun and did all this stuff and attacked everyone but, and it was okay, maybe she nope, heel turn, bad wrestling. It just felt like bad wrestling where Shawn Michaels just kicked Marty Jannetty through the mirror glass, and that's what that felt like, and came out of nowhere.
I think the thing that I like about, and I'm sorry, I just keep talking to Dave.
Please
jump in whenever. I think the thing that I do like about this episode, because it's funny in parallel with the 2 episodes ago after the Night King won, and we were all like, how do we feel? And I feel kind of similar to that now as we're processing everything live. But I think I like it because Daenerys is a result of all these characters' decisions to back her, and now they're forced with the hand they've dealt themselves. And so Tyrion and Jon, Sansa obviously not so much because she has been very anti-Dany, but they now have this tyrant queen who not only is the opposite of what she wanted, but is also to be, but also is the opposite of what they were trying to put on the throne, why they started the fight to begin with. And I think that is poetic in a very Game of Thrones way that I'm intrigued to see. I like that this is the mess that we're going into the final episode.
I find it hard to imagine that this was random, that Jon Snow is the only character of note who was consistent throughout. He's an earnest guy and does things with honor. Everybody else had these hardcore right turn changes in their personalities in this episode. Just about every single person. Danny turns fully loco and torches everybody. Arya, what happened to her? That she is this assassin, this soulless assassin.
She was so close to Cersei.
She doesn't want to get hitched last week because she's an assassin. That's not who she is.
Yeah.
And suddenly the rubble starts to fall and she's meek and running and scared. And Cersei, in her moment of doom, suddenly is weeping. I mean, she was broken by the lady with the shame bell, a couple of seasons ago. That was not as bad as this was. This was more severe. I don't want to die. All that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't imagine we just fluked our way into that. I assume that was intentional. And so what that means for the final episode, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I want to go back to, we've obviously all covered a lot of things just now. I want to go back to, you were talking about Arya's kind of character arc. And we were all talking about it, you, Nick, and I actually disagree with you guys a little bit in terms of it being one of the more insulting things in the episode. I don't know, I kind of felt like it made her human to me. Like, I liked that we didn't get this just like, it wasn't so black and white, and I think that gray area is why I'm attracted to Game of Thrones, and I felt like I got that with her because she's still kind of a kid. Like, yeah, she's a badass assassin, but in that moment
She
of
is
like,
a woman, though.
She is a woman. This is correct. But
I don't get what you're trying to say.
I don't.
No, well, the sex.
But in this moment of like fire and buildings and like death around her, to see her be faced by that and see her be like, again, have this kind of a reaction similar to what I feel I would react to would be like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So I liked that glimpse into her.
It was weird though because they did the exact same thing 2 episodes ago before she killed the Night King, where they were like, we have her knocked out, we have her off her A game, she has the single-minded thing to do, and she does it there.
Yeah.
And so that I did feel like it was a little redundant. What I did think was interesting though, when the Hound kind of stops her and is like, you don't have to do this. And I think what he's really saying is like, to follow me is death. Like, to follow me means you might accomplish your goal, but there's no coming back from it. That being said, I don't know that it's true to the Arya that I've followed that she wouldn't say, well, I want to cross this name off my list. Like, I don't know what she still has to live for. And I think that that's because this season they haven't really expanded in a deep way our understanding of these characters. And
I would totally agree with
the
that.
opposite, actually. They intentionally are keeping us behind a wall because they want to do these plot twists where it's revealed what they really meant. Like, we don't get to see that conversation between Jon, Arya, Sansa, and Bran, like, because it's going to pay off later. And I think that might be kind of why it's hard.
Payoff in quotes.
I think you hit on exactly, I think maybe my frustration and hopefully others, or not. It's just, we've had these arcs. Daenerys had an arc, and her arc may have been always heading towards this way, and Arya's arc and Cersei's arc were always maybe heading towards this, but the character changes have felt we haven't earned them. Like, these final beats in their arcs were like, it was like A, B, C, F. Like, we didn't hit that final arc. And I think that's what the season's done the disservice. Like, up until now, this season was like, yeah, it's pretty good. I wasn't ready to, like, after last week, people were like, ready to shoot out. Yeah, I wasn't ready to shoot out. But, like, this episode has been very, oh, that's just a right turn. Like, it's like, oh, crap, guys, we only have, like, 15 minutes left. We only have 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
We got to, like, jump ahead 3 or 4 episodes.
And people always talk about, listen, we're talking about a show that involves dragons that torch human beings and everything else, but still, there is a gritty sort of, again, reality, excuse me while I do like Hoda Kotb.
That's the feel we try to bring.
Hey, let's gab. But yeah, it always felt sort of grounded, and I guess what some fictional medieval world would be like. And when you die and all, when you die, it would be painful and it would be grim and it would be quick and all of that. Now all of a sudden, these action hero kind of like, what was the Hound's fight scene? How many times did he get thrown against gigantic rocks and everything? If that happened to you once, I suspect that would break all your bones and everything. And if somebody put a sword into your side, not once, but twice, I think you would probably die on the spot. I don't think you limp heroically up flights of stairs to save somebody. And by the way, wouldn't that have been a lot better when she said, I don't want our baby to die, if his last thing to her wouldn't have been, the only thing that matters is us, is Too bad. That's why you shouldn't have been so mean all this time.
See, I was kind
now
of
you killed us both.
I was kind of hoping during the Jaime Cersei scene that Jaime would kill her to like spare her from the dragon or from like some prolonging death like of suffering. I thought that would be kind of poetic, and that's not what happened. They got crushed by stone.
I feel like this season very hung up on internal callbacks, and so this a couple seasons ago when Jaime and Bronn are talking about how they would want to die, and Jaime says, "I want to die in the arms of the woman I love," and so that scene is literally him dying in the arms of the woman he loves, and so I think we're putting aside some of those kind of logical things that might happen for the sake of like the show having this poetic aspect to everything coming around. I hear you about the Hound and the mountain fight.
Yeah, was the Clegane Bowl what you wanted?
So I was never super invested.
Okay, because I wasn't either. That's why I was like kind of holding back. So I was like, well, it's not something I was like really clamoring for.
The writers were. They were super pumped for this fight, where it was like, oh yeah, these two giants. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it felt like between that and the cross-cutting of Arya getting hit, it felt like a Rick Springfield song was about to start playing, and they were about to do a training montage.
I do want to say so the director of this episode, Miguel Sapochnik, I think that's how you say his last name, he directed The Long Night, which we couldn't see, but I'm sure that if we had, it might have been great.
So he was tired during this episode.
But he also directed Battle of the Bastards, which I know a lot of people have problems with. I think it's one of the most stunningly directed episodes of the show, and I really do feel that way about this one. I think it was just beautiful to like the way that they filmed it, the way that they really brought that street level element to Game of Thrones has forgotten that it's a war for people in like this realm, and this one really put you in with the many people in King's Landing who were dying as a result of like this larger clash that has been what the show has been focusing on so far, in a way similar to how the Battle of the Bastards really put you in the fight. And I think we were getting a lot of like D-Day vibes and like World War II kind of fights where you're imagining Saving Private Ryan or whatever, and you're with the soldiers and the people in those towns, and that to me has affected me probably more than any of the story points thus far in this episode. I thought it was just like really well directed.
Yeah, it was a beautiful episode, but the whole time you were like, why is this happening? Like, why? Like, we haven't earned it yet, and that was like the problem. Like, we didn't earn all this beautiful destruction, and that was like, I think the frustrating part of the watch.
Well, was Dany trying? Did she know that? I mean, obviously she knows Jon Snow and company are all in there. So is she trying to torch them? Is she willfully trying to eliminate everybody in there, including her own army?
I think that's a really interesting take, like because she says like, well, like it's fear then, and it feels really pretty clear to me at that moment that she is like in it to win it for herself and herself only. So I kind of like that only because it explains the logic that I was having, which is like, how in the world did we get so lucky that all of our like the main characters weren't standing in the wrong place where the fire was? Do you know what I mean? Like, can she control the fire? Like, what's happening?
Well, they would have only been near the front gates anyway, because that was where the Unsullied and everyone attacked. And we saw Jon like barely progress past that point. He basically was there the whole time, whereas she went deeper into the city. She was attacking the Red Keep, which is like in the heart of the city on the cliffs and everything. So that one I'll let them pass.
By the way, my favorite part of the show was when Jon was trying to get all of his soldiers to stop murdering people while murdering a bunch of people. It's like, no, stop!
It felt very Jon, though. I think in my notes I typed, like, this is the most Jon thing ever. For, like, so many layers of it. So at least they understand Jon.
Jon's
is
still
that,
dumb.
They totally get Jon. They totally get Jon.
It's like all this chaos and Jon just yelling, stop! And then also killing people while telling them to stop, and like it just felt very Jon. That was a fun moment.
He is good at killing though, because he was barely even paying attention. I'm glad those guys died because they wouldn't have had any dignity left on the other. Because like they're running at him. These are trained soldiers, and he's like, "Hey, I told you to stop. Like, hey, get out of here. I'm talking right now. Yeah, you too. Get out of here. Now listen. Now I don't want you all to run away."
And that guy was trying to assault the woman, and Jon was like, "No." No, and then he took his sword and it was like, oh crap, surprise, you have to kill him too.
I will say Euron didn't deserve a fight
Oh
before
my
he died. Like, he deserved to go out like Harry Strickland, just trampled. Like, I couldn't believe it when he was like, I'm the one to kill Jaime Lannister. I was like, you don't deserve that.
Do they understand that we hate him, and not in like a I hate Cersei, she's so way, but in a he is a bad character.
I thought he was about to start singing I killed Jaime Lannister. Like, it was like, I killed Jaime Lannister!
So I do have a few questions, and I don't know if any of you will, I'm assuming Terry might be able to answer, but I don't know, maybe you guys can too. Where was Brienne?
She's still in the north.
Protecting Sansa.
She's still in the north.
Yeah,
protecting
remember, because
Sansa. Okay.
Jamie left and she stayed behind. He was going to stay behind.
Got
she
it.
also stayed behind.
Okay.
Yes.
That
I have to
makes
admit
sense.
something to you.
Yes.
I have to admit something to you that's going to hurt.
Tell Bran.
Oh, no, I have to tell Bran. Damn it, you're right. I have to tell Bran. Bran, I wish you were there, you worthless piece of crap, so you could warg into the dragon so you wouldn't murder all the children.
Oh.
Say it again. I do a really good.
I'm sorry, Bran.
We don't have time for this.
No, but, well, he did. That's fair. That's fair. He didn't do anything. Maybe that happens next episode. We'll get there. But if Bran was there, he could have
I don't
stopped
know.
all the children murder.
I'm not gonna lie, like that loaded moment when the bells start pealing and Tyrion thinks he's done it and Jon's like, all right, that's it. And they're just sitting there and Cersei's like, all right, well, I guess that's the war. And then Daenerys chooses and they're just pissed. They don't even care. They are the invading force. And the looks on every other character's face who's made the biggest mistake of their goddamn life, I kind of love that.
I
was
like
that's
that I will definitely say
That's
was
meaty. That's
a
good.
high point for the episode for
It
sure.
wasn't earned yet. That was my problem.
Oh, see, I didn't. I felt like with the pacing of this season, it felt earned at that point
I
in
feel
time.
like they've kind of addressed it in each of the 5 episodes this season.
I feel
but
like
not the previous season.
Sansa is going to
Yeah.
be so proud of herself in the worst way.
I do feel like it is something where, similar to the Jaime thing, where when he's leaving Brienne, he was doing the I'm a bad boy. Where he basically looks at the camera and is like, I am no longer good, I am now bad. That's kind of what all of this Dany stuff feels like, where it's like, Jon, the look, I don't know, it just feels so spelled out, I guess.
Jon-
It's lost the nuance.
And Jon has been dumb and done dumb things in military action, as far as I can follow what the proper protocol is if you're in a large scale battle.
Big dumb guy.
But boy, Cersei, for someone who is supposed to be evil but cagey, what was she doing? What was her thought process in taking this on and sitting there? It was all based around, one of those giant arrows that didn't exist a couple weeks ago is going to kill the dragon and we will survive all this. And then when she sees that doesn't happen, she stood there and
What is she supposed to do?
saved herself. I would think
time.
if nothing else, I would think she would save herself given the opportunity, and for her to stand there stoically for 10 or 15 minutes.
Or have
is
something
not-
else up her sleeve.
Right.
Because she's always been a very clever character.
So at that point, I guess that maybe this is getting to the heart of why I had a hard time with this episode, is that happened relatively early on in the episode where, the dragon takes out whatever those spear things were, the Iron Fleet is gone. It's very clear who's taking this fight, and I kind of was like, why are we still watching this? We already know, just cut out that middle part and give us some character development, or it just didn't feel like valuable time in the episode, I get it.
It was like the director was building up his reel. And he was like, look, what if we did 30 minutes of just dragon porn?
Okay, so what are things we like? Maybe we're leaning on Terry a little heavy this part, because I do think you're bringing up a lot of good points that I didn't think about when I was watching the episode. But start us off, Jaime and Tyrion scene.
I love that
Let's
scene.
not forget that scene. That was in the beginning. It was great.
Except where did Tyrion come up with that key?
Oh,
That's
okay,
the
buddy.
question. How to get the key to free her up? The thing I thought that was great, by the way, Terry is right, is on the ground level watching the dragon fly over. That was ominous. That between the buildings, periodically you would see the dragon swoop over, and that would be obviously terrifying for a dragon to be blowing fire in your general proximity.
And I did like that we kind of were following the same mother-daughter throughout the episode too, who ended up being nothing more than kind of our anchors throughout the episode.
Yeah.
And we kind of do have this emotional attachment to them that when we see them burnt and holding each other at the end, it does, it's supposed to hit you in the feels.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that is effective in how it's paid off. I do like the Jaime and Tyrion scene. I like the way that it calls back to, again, there are a lot of callbacks within this episode to earlier episodes trying to tie those ends. But this one in particular to Jaime letting Tyrion out when his father was going to have him killed. And I like Tyrion's decision. Why? Like, he's ready to face his death for this being the wrong choice, but Jaime is truly the only person who loved him, and I love that the two of them get that scene together before the end.
So do we think Tyrion's gonna get punished? Because technically Dany doesn't necessarily know that he was plotting behind her or necessarily let out Jaime.
I think
but
so.
Jaime won't be there.
But I think Dany,
I guess that's true.
I think Dany sees Tyrion as a threat now.
I think she sees all of them as a threat.
Yeah, I mean, well,
and I think they are. I think they should be.
But so what's stopping the final episode just being Dany and her dragon like lighting everyone on fire?
Dusty Arya.
I mean, do we think, because like when I was watching all this happen with Arya, and I love that Arya truly was in the midst of the horror in a way that no other surviving character is, that like, she already was anti-Daenerys. She's gonna go back if she survives, and she's gonna tell Sansa all of this. Like, do we think that Arya deserves to kill Dany or whatever after also killing the Night King? Which, by the way, I thought it was funny. She's like, I'm Arya Stark. I'm gonna kill Cersei Lannister. I already killed the Night King. Like, you're gonna stop me? Come on, I'm the hero.
There's got to be some. I mean, I know we're holding out here. I said beforehand, we got to see the dragon do something after all this buildup. Unlike the Night King, after all the buildup, we never really got anything with that. Don't we need to see some variation of either Arya put on Dany's face to trick the dragon? Because to your point, the dragon, the dragon can conceivably, there's no counter for that.
Yeah.
Unless you take out the dragon, or unless Jon Snow can somehow win the dragon over against Dany.
Well, so how does that, Terry, do you know how that works with like dragon loyalties, I guess?
I mean, I
Just line them up here, boy.
Yeah.
Terry, our expert analysis for dragon politics.
And picture, what's that movie with the dog where it's like the two owners are there and he has to like choose which one to come to? You know the one.
I think Clifford.
Yeah.
Clifford.
I don't think we necessarily know. But I would imagine, like, I think what we've understood is that the dragons will let Targaryens ride them, but it is a little unclear in the show, and I hope the books get into this more, whether like Daenerys is kind of warging or has some kind of like, psychic connection with these in the same way that the Starks are supposed to have those connections with their direwolves, and maybe that's why that is happening.
That's what I always kind of assumed, but I like this better, so
Can I
that's
ask a
what
dumb
happened.
question to the team?
No, only smart ones. Yes.
Okay. If Daenerys is the big bad of the show, was the Night King a bad guy?
So I don't think there is a big bad on the show.
Does it
I think
No, they made Daenerys the big bad guy.
I think humanity is the big bad, because the last episode Cersei was the big bad, and the episode before that the Night King was the big bad. I don't think it's as simple as like there's one villain. I think it's that let human nature.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
No.
You can finish.
No.
Okay, but I think that I'm really trying not to just like hate this episode, but I think where I have an issue with this is now all of a sudden it's really clear that Dany's the bad guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I liked it better when I was I know that I was clamoring for this entire time we've had this show. I'm like, I want Dany to go crazy. Like, this is what I want. But now that it's happened,
I actually think I really did enjoy this episode the more I think about it.
It's always like people say about The Walking Dead, used to say about that show. You know who the actual Walking Dead are? The still living people. It's the same sort of thing as the Night King. We got bait and switch. Like, they're not the evil ones. The evil ones are the bad humans, the people that don't find redemption in the end, which is what's weird about Jaime. Jon Snow is the guy, like I say, who's been consistent throughout. So I would think he's the one who's gonna wind up on the throne unless he cedes control of it. But to your point about callbacks and everything else, just this episode, Varys said, you're gonna make good decisions. Yeah, I don't want it. He's going to end up taking it anyway, and he's already said the people who don't want it are the ones who make the best king.
Do you think he wants it now?
I want Sansa to be queen. I don't think Jon deserves to be king. He makes terrible decisions. He has consistently made bad decisions. And I also think he's too much a man of honor, even with what he saw, to actually let the truth hit him that Daenerys will be
Oh,
a bad.
really? So do you think he's still Team Dany?
I mean, look at how long Jaime was Team Cersei up until the end, which I will say, after being briefly excited that Jaime and Brienne got to consummate their love or lust or whatever respect last episode, I wish the show had not had them have sex, because I don't think seeing where they went with the Jaime and Cersei arc, and that she's his one true love and they just wanted to end up together. What was the point really, other than just paying off? Fans want this. I don't like the idea that Brienne needed to lose her virginity or needed to have sex with this guy who she ultimately had a one-sided affection for. I think he respected her, but not enough to stay. It kind of does piss me off in retrospect that they chose to go that route with her and acted like that was something that needed to be checked off for her character development when she didn't need it. And especially if Jaime was just going to be one literal one-night stand, see ya, we're gonna go.
I wish that they checked it off for character development. I honestly feel like it was just a fan service play.
Yeah, I don't think that they needed to, and I think that kind of cheapened that relationship when they could have had the kind of consummation be him knighting her, which I think was very much an honorable and a way for him to recognize her great honor and why he would always aspire to be a good person like her, and that he saw so much of what he hoped to be as a knight of the Seven Kingdoms in her, and not had it have to go the sex route if he was just going to go back to Cersei anyway.
Totally.
I have two real quick thoughts. One, when the Golden Company guy was running and got killed, that was my favorite part of the episode. That dork looked like a big dork, and it was fun watching him get trampled. Yeah.
I'm really glad we didn't get to know him very well.
Yeah, no, that was one of those characters who was like, "Hey, dork, you're gonna get trampled one day."
You have a terrific head of hair. Why aren't you have it up under a helmet like everybody else? I think something's gonna happen to you.
Oh, there he is, you dork.
He had his helmet off.
Or maybe in hindsight we'll learn that that it was in fact it wasn't Jaime at all. It was Bran, pubescent Bran, inhabiting the brain of the former lion Jaime to have his way.
We might be
with
getting
Brienne.
ahead to predictions, but do we think Bran is going to do anything in the last episode?
I kind of don't think so.
I'm hearing some no's off camera.
I want to believe it, but I kind of think
he's a nihilist.
Not going to happen.
By the way, Varys was totally right, beat for beat. He predicted the entire episode. It might have well been spoilers.
So, speaking of Varys, remember when the episode started and he died?
Yeah. For being exactly right.
I was really hoping Drogon wasn't going, because he kind of stops for a second.
Just that.
And there was the weird thing, if you remember back to Varys' origin story, about how he heard a man in the fire, or he heard a voice in the fire when he was kind of getting cut by that wizard many moons ago, and I kind of hoped that was gonna come into play again. But I'm curious, before the episode, we were kind of speculating, he's writing all these letters to tell people Jon is the rightful heir. Who's left for him to write letters to? There's that Prince of Dorne and Yara, and Sansa knows.
A very small group of people that are still
and Edmund Tully, if he's still alive underneath River Run, maybe.
Well, Sam already knows.
Yeah, Sam knows. Sam told him.
Okay.
Yeah, who is swooping in to save the day from the... Well, I guess we saw Varys, the only letter that actually made it out was the one that that would have maybe made it out is the one he burned. So
I thought he'd been writing them at the beginning.
It seemed like that, yeah.
That's what I
was he trying to poison Dany at the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, he was?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Truth be told, I was opening my laptop in a Google Doc and I kind of missed what was happening there.
Because there was a little girl.
I was just
and
hoping
he was
it wasn't important.
He was saying the queen wouldn't eat.
Oh, yeah. I thought that they were just oh, she's really upset.
Yeah, but he was talking up his little bird to be sometimes you have to do, I forget what the line was, but it basically.
Okay, well, hey Vega, why don't we check in with him, Vega, to hear what the good people of the internet are saying about the show?
Oh man, the internet is online.
Where they are.
So there's obviously a lot of negative reaction, but I thought I'd start off with a good, sort of wholesome meme post that people say that the Lancer brothers story arc is the most rewarding.
I would agree. I have said on this show, I think that the Lannister, like that house, is the most interesting to me. I think their development has been fantastic.
I would agree.
For the most part.
Seeing that shot reminded me of one, if not the best scene between Jaime and Tyrion, which is when, if not that, then one of the best. When I think Tyrion's in the cell, Jaime's come to visit him, and he's telling the story about their cousin who was kind of simple, who was killing all the beetles. And for years, he would just go thump, thump, thump and kill the beetles with the rock. And Tyrion is kind of talking about how for years, he just wanted to know what was the point. What was the point that all these beetles had to die? And he never got his answer. And that, ironically, is kind of poetic to what the end of Game of Thrones is ending up being. Like, what is the point of any of it? And will there be a point? Like, why did all these people have to die?
Yeah. Is that beautiful or upsetting?
Game of Thrones should be upsetting, ultimately, as long as it's smart about it.
What I think is going to be saccharine, ultimately, but I think is what's going to happen is Arya, with the Council now, the Hound, is she rides off. Maybe she's going to try and do something, but I suspect that she'll end up. The last we'll see of her is with I can't think of the guy who was made. Gendry, yeah. I bet you we'll find her running through. I bet you that's exactly what happens. They'll be running through the fields together, away at peace.
What if she ends up running the Inn at the Crossroads with Hot Pie? That's a happy ending I want for
I would be
Arya
okay
Stark.
with that. Vega, do you got anything else? What are the internets saying to the people?
Yeah, you
Are you
did the
gonna
one nice
hide?
comment.
You're gonna
Of course, yes, here it is. I have a couple, but I just want to show 2 quick memes. I thought this one was hilarious. That's kind of the whole episode. Shrek.
The one
Kind of
with
goes
the
back
burning.
to no main characters dying from the fire. Also, this meme I loved. We did a Grey Worm. We saved the city.
Wait, that's so good. The internet's
so good.
Yeah.
Good work, internet.
Shout out to the internet. I have this meme kind of going back to Varys sort of spoiling the show for us. Wish Varys was allowed to say, "I told you so."
Oh, that just made me kind of sad. I wasn't that sad when he died, but I'm gonna miss his little
Wait, what if that actually is like what he wrote on that last note that he stuck? It's like, "I told you so" for Tyrion to find later.
Varys just writing the script of the episode as he's
Interesting, like it's a testament to how many characters have died that the showrunners referred to Varys as Tyrion's best friend, other than his brother. And I was like, I guess, but rip.
Right? I know. Vega, do you have anything else for us?
Yeah, love this classic internet meme. Cersei just sort of dipping out.
I kind of love that.
That was my favorite part of the show.
The combination of Qyburn just getting moved to the ground and then Cersei sidestepping it was kind of lovely.
The mountain only having one move that's I'm just gonna pop your face.
But I did like that it seemed like there was an eye thing going on, a little bit of an eye kink, where he was just and then he actually got stabbed in the eye.
We hashtag eye kink.
Yeah, let's get that started, internet. Let's
Shout
do it.
out though to Qyburn, who's apparently more powerful than the Night King. The Night King can raise the dead, but you just swing a sword at them and they fall down. This mountain was unstoppable.
I know.
Put a knife in his head and
how do
he
you
just
kill
kept
the dead?
going.
He was so gross too. That I love the Darth Vader moment of just taking off
That's
his mask
exactly
and
what
you're
I
like,
thought.
yeah.
Very Anakin at the end of Jedi.
Yeah. But
Vega,
grosser.
he's waving his hands in the air to get my attention. What do you want?
I didn't ask for permission, but I want to show a tweet that I made.
Oh.
Show us.
Remember the Night King? That was it. That's the tweet.
Why'd you crop out all the likes and retweets?
Yeah, does it not have
One retweet,
gotcha.
1 like from my personal account. So, yeah. All right.
That's crazy to think that was only a few episodes ago.
IGN Game of Thrones Watch Party, the show where we show you the internet tweets from IGN.
Yeah, right? Don't you love it?
It could be a
Can you show me a
spin-off.
tweet about the basketball game?
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Vega. We'll be back to check in with you a little bit later. And for you, the audience, if you have burning questions for us, send them our way and we'll answer them a little bit later. Just do it in the comments or tag IGN. In the meantime, I'm going to walk to the board to see how we did with Gaming of Thrones. I us in the pre-show, and now it's post-show where we look at them. So, Will, Arya, where? Someone's face.
Still no.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, still no. It's
So,
been
Nick,
5
you get a
episodes.
point. Here, I'm actually just gonna take your face so that I remember you got a point, because last week I forgot to count the points.
That's what I counted.
Okay, so number 2, will we get the Clegane Bowl that we were promised?
The hype that was promised.
The answer is yes.
No.
So I will take all of us. Nick, you didn't
Kinda.
get that point.
Kinda.
Everyone
They
but
both
Nick.
died.
What
What did you want?
I'm just knocking things over. Okay, number 3, will Jaime kill Cersei?
We all
That is
got
a
that.
huge, wait,
We
a
all
no. Wait, yeah,
He
that is
didn't.
no.
He didn't.
He didn't kill Cersei. Well, no, I was trying to see where we lined up, and I was doing
Yeah.
like the line, and I got it. So we all got it right. Correct for us. Woo.
Yeah.
Okay, number
We're all
4.
tied.
Will Danny go full on
I'm
mad?
such an idiot.
Most of us got that right except for you, Terry.
I know,
That was a
I
pretty
suck.
big yeah.
What was I thinking?
And we have Grey Worm. Oh wait, I just realized, you guys, this would have been so much better if I left the correct ones up and took. Wow, that would have made so much more sense.
I was gonna win again.
You got
That's
one more
fine.
episode.
It's fine. I'll do it next week. Okay, so will Danny go full mad? Wait, we already did
No,
that
we
one.
didn't.
Grey Worm. Will he get revenge?
I would argue
He
yes.
seems pretty
I think
vengeful.
Because he just killed random extra number 54.
But he seemed really angry when he was doing it, and
Oh, I
it
think-
felt. And
yeah,
I would say yes.
I think when he
would
went
too.
javelin move on the guy in the back, I think
Okay,
that
he
was the
killed the
start of a
Golden Company guy.
bloodlust.
This
We
is
hadn't
so
seen
hard.
that
Why did I
bloodlust
do
yet.
this? Okay, so finally, how many characters will die? I would definitely say that it's not 4 or 3. And if the prompter would go up, I will
was
tell you how
7, right?
many.
I think we decided 7.
7. If Cersei and Jaime are actually truly dead, which honestly the only worse thing than how they died could be if they weren't actually dead. So I am gonna give that to you, Dave, just because you were at 8.
But I feel like does Infinite also get it? Because technically all of Kingsland.
Yeah, I guess only
But
me
this
and
is
Barris
main
care about
characters.
the,
This is main
poor people.
characters. Okay, well now I guess I'll put them back on
Me
the
and my
board and
Barris.
tally it up.
Dave won. I did it!
Good job, fantastic. Now I'm gonna go back over there and we're gonna do predictions.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I was okay. Well, now I'm here. Hello.
The magic of show business.
Okay, so we obviously have another episode next week. Wow. What if they ended it this week? Like, what if it was just done?
It'd be fine with it.
I have a prediction.
Okay, yeah, that's right. We're doing predictions.
I have one, and that's it.
Okay,
it,
well,
sorry.
would you like to start?
I guess
You can start us
no,
off.
maybe I can go last. If you
Oh,
want.
is it a big prediction? I mean,
No, it's not a big prediction.
Tell
Okay,
me.
do your thing.
Okay, so in this episode, if you remembered when the dragon was flying over, oh my goodness, over King's Landing, that was a callback to a
Seems right.
vision Bran had a couple seasons ago when he was trying to find like the Three-Eyed Raven originally. And one other big vision that I thought we were going to see in this episode, but we didn't, that both Daenerys and Bran have had is this shot of the throne room with what looks like ash or snow coming over it. And it's like the Iron Throne with this white powdery substance that could be snow or ash, and the throne room being destroyed. And I think that we are definitely going to see that next week because, again, this season has been all about callbacks and having that kind of like poetic ending to all these things. What I am really curious about, though, is in Daenerys' vision, she walks into the throne room, and I'm curious if she's going to have that moment here as well. For Bran, he just kind of saw it, and also whether it is going to end up being ash or snow, because it looked like in the preview for next week's episode there will be snow reaching King's Landing for some reason. Then I don't know. Maybe there's a time jump. That's it. It's
Oh,
a very
wait,
long.
a time jump is really interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
What if they time jump to where everybody's elderly?
I'm in it.
That would be a fun episode.
They don't have any more dire wolves to, use their budget on. So they
Also,
can just
this
make people-
showed up, guys. I'm just going to explain it to you. So these are everybody who's dead. It's a graveyard. And if you have predictions for who you think's going to die, I'll add their face to it. So that's all I wanted to explain.
Okay.
Does anybody else have a... Dave, you look like you're ruminating.
Well, I mean,
on thought.
there's no doubt at this point that Dany's going to get it, so she's dead.
Ooh.
But the order, though, is interesting because what I think is going to happen is the beginning of the episode, Dany's going to kill Sansa because Sansa doesn't bend the knee. They blow up Winterfell. Arya and Jon attack King's Landing. Jon kills Grey Worm, and then Arya kills Dany. Jon becomes the king, and then he just sets the thing on fire, the throne. And then there's no kingdom, and then we're just,
That's a really specific prediction, and I want
I'm into it.
us to like see if that tracks exactly.
I'm like actually really into the idea of Dany
make sure we
killing
record this
Sansa.
episode.
Like I like that.
I think Bran has to be involved. Obviously, we didn't see him here. He's got to be involved.
that
So
obvious?
somehow he gets in the dragon's head, or Arya gets into another person's face, and one of those two scenarios is how Dany goes out. Dany will get killed. I think you're right though. I think you're in fact absolutely
Where's my
right.
camera?
I think there is no more Iron Throne. I think the entire thing is burnt to the ground. And I think, like we talked about, I think Sam is tasked by his best friend, Jon Snow, with rewriting history and erasing all the filth that we just saw. It's sort of like so many TV shows have ended in the last 25 years or so with the it was all just a kid looking in a fishbowl kind of a thing. Like this never happened now as far as future generations are concerned. We're gonna just shake it up and Sam's gonna rewrite it.
Also, for the record, I am hearing you guys saying that Cersei's already dead.
Yeah.
Daenerys is gonna die, but I can't find her head, so we're
she
gonna
already on
pretend.
there, maybe?
That's what I was like. Oh no, her head was underneath Sam's. Found her.
Okay.
Sam almost certainly is gonna.
So I'll add her there. But yeah, I really hope that it explores a little bit more the parallels of Cersei and Dany, because I felt like there were quite a few in this episode. Like the center of Cersei's dress looked very similar to the dragon's tail, and they had a lot of shots of the dragon's tail from behind, and I thought that was a little in your face, but I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. Like maybe we're gonna see that explored a little bit more in our face. I don't know. I'm just still talking. It's fine. I don't actually
did
want
really
that. As
like-
I kept talking, I was like, I don't want this at all.
One thing that reminded me of, though, that I did really like about this episode is when we see Daenerys coming in on Drogon and flying into the city. Like in previous episodes, we'd gotten a lot of close-ups of her while riding the dragon, and in this, we were only getting these shots from afar that make her synonymous with her dragon and destruction, and there's no humanizing her at all. Like there's no close-ups to her decisions until later when she makes it really personal, and I thought that was like a good choice.
Well, there's a good reason for that, because they shot it, but it didn't really play when she was twisting her mustache, going, "Nah, burn, burn."
You do write this show, don't you?
I-
It's spot on.
That's why he's here. He's actually one of the ghostwriters. Okay, so do we think Grey Worm is out? I think he gets killed next week by Jon. I like that prediction.
I think that he's gonna take Missandei's little. No, he threw her collar in the fire, huh? I feel like he's gonna try and go off and do some kind of justice for her. I don't want Grey Worm to die.
There's got to be some reckoning against Dany. It just can't be like, well, she is the queen. They're gonna have to, and maybe Grey Worm is the one who starts that coup in.
So you
saying,
think
No, I think Grey Worm-
he would never.
I know it
You're
seems
right.
outrageous, but
No, he's Team Dany,
Oh.
especially now.
And he was the first one to flip the switch. Like he didn't listen to Jon at all. He was the one. It was his revenge that we were just talking about. He was ready to take him out. I think he's Daenerys' soldier until
maybe
the very
Brienne
end.
and Grey Worm would be a good fight. That's all we have left, really.
Well,
we have 80 minutes left.
like you've been talking about, there's all these callbacks, and Dany in that one episode, a really great moment, we talked about breaking the wheel. I think Jon breaks the wheel next episode.
Yeah, it's so sad, right? Because she's like, I don't want to be another peg on the wheel. I want to break the wheel. But she is just the same. She's the same as every Targaryen
wheel maker.
conqueror before her. She's a whole new wheel, and I don't think that she's self-aware enough to see it.
The fire of the dragon is what's going to literally burn the Iron Throne to the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Jon Snow on its back.
Whew. Whew. Those were some spicy predictions.
I hope Sansa lives. I don't want her to die.
I want her to die because I want her to
No.
live. I want her to die because I want her to live. That's what I've found is my happiest at this show. Okay, so let's catch up with Vega and try to answer some of your questions. Vega, give it to me straight.
All right, here we go. No games anymore, because
No more games.
so many comments. I'm reading all of them. I don't have a graphic for this one because I caught it on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube. 12,000 people
Heyo.
watching.
All of your friends.
So Chris Stanley on our YouTube chat asked, what do you think Sansa will do now once Arya tells her what she saw Dany do at King's Landing?
Not bend the knee.
That's like specifically though, like her next step. I don't know what it is, because obviously you'd hope that it's like, we'll take her out, but how do you even start that?
Yeah.
I think Dany's gonna kind of take the decision out of her. Like, I think Dany's just gonna go like, well, time to Winterfell, go kill Sansa, because.
I think you're right. I think Daenerys sees enemies everywhere. Jon is an enemy. Tyrion is an enemy, and I think just and she said, Tyrion, you do one more thing, that's it, you're done. Technically, he did like 10 in this episode that I think would justify his betrayals of her. She literally has no friends left except for maybe Grey Worm. And yeah, I think she's going to see Sansa as a threat. She clearly stated that here. But the question is, like, what is Sansa going to do? And she doesn't have a dragon, right? Like, she is not proficient with a sword. What is she going to do?
Right.
She's smarter than Dany.
She's smarter than Dany, and she knows how to manipulate the people. And I think they did set that seed of Varys sending out letters to whatever other people are out there. And I think that Sansa can turn the entire country against Daenerys.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is just like me not totally understanding the politics of having like kings and lords and whatever. But so everyone's cool with Dany being queen because Jon has kind of been championing this whole like she's my queen thing, right? Correct? So does he get back and can he just like take it back and then does everybody turn on her? Like, is it that easy?
It's implausible that Jon Snow's going to participate in attacking Winterfell, and it seems like just based on the preview that in fact the forces are lined up at the gates of Winterfell, unless I was misseeing that right at the end. But I mean, I don't buy that Jon Snow would take the order of Dany, especially after that, to go and attack his
But
his
she just
home.
has freaking dragons. Like, what can you do against dragons?
Wouldn't that be so funny
Throw
if the
javelins
final
at him.
episode is
He's
just
got
like
the same juice.
dragons?
He can ride the dragon
Dragons.
too.
Well,
are the
I think this guy is saving the day.
It's happened, guys. You heard it here.
I'm not sure if you're joking or not.
No, I'm not,
we're-
because it's the only thing that kind of makes sense.
I know, I hate that. Vega, give us another one.
All right, jumping off of that, Nick Mundy, good friend Cam Hayward tweeted at us.
Yeah, we miss you, Cam.
Cam, we miss you so
We'll
much.
add another seat. Just fly over here.
So did Bran walk into the horse instead of being lazy?
I like that reading of it so much better.
Oh my god.
Do you want us to answer it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess he did.
Yeah.
The jury has spoken. What about another one?
All right, what about this one?
Happy belated
Curious
birthday.
what you guys think about this. After 9 years of Dany being our hero, we rooted for and Cersei our villain. We wanted to have a sweet death. How are we supposed to feel the opposite for each in a matter of minutes? What a messy and very bad decisions.
Terry, you might want to take this one because I might agree with him.
I mean, I get it, right? It's funny because Joanna Robinson, who's a writer for Vanity Fair, a very prolific Game of Thrones writer, actually was kind of saying the opposite earlier, where she was like, how are there so many people on the internet rooting so unanimously for Cersei to die when she has been written as a very complex character? I think
Heyo, I said that. That
one
makes me
thing that I
smart.
do want to go back and do, so stay tuned to IGN this week because we might have this coverage for you, is like track all of the signs of Daenerys being set up to be the Mad Queen that she kind of revealed herself to be here, because it is so much in the keeping of Game of Thrones, breaking fantasy tropes that this person who we were set up to be our hero actually was. And so even with kind of Daenerys being the unexpected heroine in the first season and developing from there, we were talking about it earlier this season. We saw plenty of signs of her being a bad ruler, being a tyrant, ruling by force of will and not by love of the people, and not being able to maintain anything without destruction and just flexing her dragon muscles. And so I do think that is kind of in keeping with it. It just is like the much more dramatic and much less, well, more poorly done, I don't know, whatever, version of your hero being beheaded in episode 9 of season 1 with Ned Stark dying. It is, I think that we are sympathetic to Cersei because she has been a very well-written character for 7-ish seasons. I wouldn't say she was very well-written this season.
Because she didn't talk.
Because she had like 5 words total. But I do think that like that's why we've been invested in kind of this relationship between them for the very beginning. And I do think that there has been a track record of Daenerys being slightly off, that the show just didn't quite land.
Yeah.
I just think that if you talk about, not to be cynical about it, but if you think about the difference between Cersei when she's doing the nude walk through doing the shame walk, and how bad you felt for her in that moment, and how human she was, and that whole what led up to it when she was getting tortured and everything else, and now she died, and you're kind of like, she died, huh? The things fell on her. It feels like a pretty big drop to how much you care about her. It felt phony to me that she made that hard run right in the last 5 minutes of her life. That suddenly, this is all that matters. I just want our kids to live.
We haven't spent any time with her this season. Like,
Yeah.
we honestly haven't spent any time with her this season. And I want to hear from the people on the internet who still were not convinced that Cersei was actually pregnant, whether they think she's still
I
faking
guess it
or
doesn't
not.
matter. I guess it
certainly doesn't
anymore.
matter.
Well, as somebody who Cersei is my favorite character and remains my favorite character, let it be known that I'm not super stoked about her death or the fact that she really wasn't in the season at all.
Then again, if a castle's falling on you, you're probably gonna take a right turn in emotion.
That's fair.
One thing I will say, and sorry, I know we're probably going long, but there's a very popular theory. I know we've talked about it previously on the show about the Valonqar being the one to kill Cersei. It was from this prophecy in the books, an extension of the Maggie the Frog scene that we saw in the flashback a couple seasons ago. And basically it was that the Valonqar would be the one to kill her. And Valonqar translates in Valyrian to little brother, but it's kind of gender neutral, so it could be little brother, little sister. Daenerys technically is the little sister to Rhaegar Targaryen, so she seems to be the Valonqar in this scenario.
The little sister. There's so many little sisters.
There
Literally
are.
anyone could have done it.
Yes.
Vega, any more internet questions for us?
I don't have a graphic for this one because this is in our YouTube chat. It's moving very fast. This one is from El Guapo. LOL, what was the point of Bronn?
Oh, wait, yeah, where did he go? What is he doing right now?
Oh, wow.
Is he gonna come back and kill Tyrion?
No, he was promised the High Garden, so he gets it now,
Yeah,
right?
but can he give High
I think it'd be laughable if he showed up next episode and killed Tyrion before Dany got to him.
I've just come up with a new theory. To
Okay.
throw
Okay,
out.
give it to us,
I
give it to us.
think that Jon Snow is going to die, and based on the idea what we've already established that the reason you were brought back, that the witch mentioned before, she brought Jon Snow back for a purpose. We thought it was to kill the Night King. He didn't end up killing the Night King. It's all about keeping Arya alive. Jon Snow. Arya will take Jon Snow's face, and she will draw in Dany, and then and only then will she lay waste to Cersei. I mean to Dany.
I know, we're just
I'm
so
getting
used
very
to saying
confused.
Cersei.
Smart
Just rolls
Jon
off the
Snow.
tongue.
That will be intriguing.
Well,
I'm
all he
kicking
needs
things.
is to not be Jon Snow.
Well, there was one other thing that I remembered that kind of bumped me from this episode. Did the show imply that if Jon made out with Cersei that night before the battle, that
Daenerys.
Daenerys,
Sorry,
that's when she chose fear instead of love? Like if they made out, maybe this wouldn't have happened?
Yeah,
I don't think it would have been first base.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so what the showrunners had said was that it was like him betraying her was really
I
the term.
know.
But I'm sure that was part of it. Listen, the lady's unstable. Like, I think if it's any of these little
don't
things,
say.
yeah, if it's any of these little things happening, then she probably wasn't too stable to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know. I do want to move on because I know we have another really good question, but I will leave it at this, that I think that Dany and Jon's relationship over the last couple of episodes have felt very like romantic comedy in terms of like the way that their lines are written to each other just feels so melodramatic. And with that, internet, give us a question.
Okay, I have a tweet for you guys right here, kind of piggybacking on the Cersei and Jaime dead, quote unquote, spoiler
They're
alert.
so dead.
If they're
Come
not dead,
on.
I
They're-
riot.
Am I the
so
only one
dead.
satisfied by two main characters just dying from normal structure damage? Not every death needs to be grand.
And that actually
Like
does
normal
feel
structure damage.
very, that feels true to Game of Thrones, kind of this anticlimactic death. but I'm still upset. So.
Well, Jaime's already dead anyway. He got stabbed
That's
through the
true,
innards
stabby stab.
twice.
I did
By
like.
Euron.
Yeah, I did like that death for that reason. Like, they have avoided death so many times. They had this plan. They wanted to make it out, and it just like, what were they gonna do? Live out the rest of their days in Pentos, like together as a happy family? No, like they had to die. I'm annoyed as someone who always loved Brienne and Jaime's relationship the most on the show, that he did end up going back to Cersei, but I do think it was very true to their characters and true to the show. That, it was structural damage and that they just couldn't make it out one more time, and that was it.
I guess that's true. I don't know. I'm honestly, usually when I critique a show, I only critique it if I can think of a better solution. And I don't know that I don't know what I would have been happier with.
I kept waiting for Daenerys to just like fly Drogon right at Cersei standing there in the wide open and just like burn her out, just come straight for her.
Well, she had to kill all the children by going.
Totally, you're right. Until she gets.
Well, it's funny because I feel like the major deaths this season, Night King and Cersei, both were like relatively just like, oh, it's done now, which I think is interesting. I don't know.
I think the difference for me between the Night King and Cersei is like you kill the Night King and everyone poofs. And like that's it. That's it for all the whites, for all the White Walkers who just stood around. Like they literally magically disintegrate. And this is messier. And Game of Thrones is messy. Game of Thrones isn't clean.
Also, Night King had more words to say than Cersei did this season.
I'm really surprised, Vega, that there were no questions about who did Daenerys' hair with Missandei dead.
Oh, maybe if you notice in the beginning, her hair's a little messed up, and maybe it's because she doesn't know that anybody else can, so she's just leaving it how it was the last time.
Or just like she's trying to do it herself, and it's really hard to braid.
It's really hard to
hair.
Terry, do you know? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
Let's tweet at IGN.
Don't tweet. I have to read it.
All right, Dave, you were going to ask something.
Well, I wanted to ask before the episode, Terry, do you know the properties of what Bran can do? Because the issue of the dragon is not a small one. If Bran goes in, maybe he has to sacrifice himself by.
I love how
getting into the dragon's mind,
warging into a dragon.
Right? I mean, doesn't that make sense that he could go in there and that would be the only way for the dragon to die is to,
as if he,
take himself out, basically.
Yeah.
What human's going to do it at this point?
We still don't know if a human can warg into a dragon. It has been a popular theory that the books and the show have not addressed, I believe. Yell at me, internet, if I am incorrect on that. But come on, they're giving us everything else they want this season. Let Bran warg into a dragon.
Let him warg.
Let him warg. Come on, everybody.
Yeah.
We don't have time for this.
Bran's gonna save the day, man.
What's a fun plot twist?
I'm so glad that it only took us 6 episodes or 5 episodes, but I got Nick Mundy all aboard the Bran train.
I know. Choo choo.
Vega,
do you have more internet for us?
Yeah, I got one more. I'm seeing a lot of the same, kind of piggybacking on the Bran thing.
Are you calling our commenters unoriginal?
No. Everyone is sort of. They really want me to ask this. They're messaging me personally. Bran sort of warging into the dragon, like that kind of thing, and like it seems kind of like, oh, what are the rules, blah blah blah. But is there something that you like is satisfying for Bran? Like what? Because like you saying like, oh well, can Bran do the dragon? And it's like going back to can we kill the Night King? It's like, oh, no one's ever tried before. So like, is there something for all 4 of you hosts that you kind of like can see a satisfying resolution of Bran? Like, is Bran gonna do anything?
That's a good question.
I talked a lot. Someone else go first. I've got something.
What I'm getting at is if Bran inhabits a dragon or a human or anything else, if the dragon dies while Bran's in there, is Bran dead? Because that would be a satisfying. I mean that snarkily either. If Bran died, that would be a fitting end for his superpowers, that he has to sacrifice himself to take out a dragon that is otherwise unstoppable.
Knowing Bran's arc, he will probably warg into the dragon after everyone's dead. And the credits roll.
And then just fly. And not do anything with it.
Yeah,
just
just
fly
fly,
around.
yeah.
So I guess my question though is that like, what is Bran's horse in the race? I asked this last week. Is like, his whole thing with the Night King made sense because the Night King was coming after him. There was a conflict between him and the Night King, him being as the Three-Eyed Raven. But now that like there isn't that threat, like why does he really care what's happening?
I think he does. I think that's what he's kind of said is like he is just an observer and he is not there to influence things one way or another. And I don't think he really does care, which is so lame after all this payoff.
Yeah. So I guess my answer is I don't think he really is going to do anything because I don't think he has the motivation to.
I do.
Because it's just kind of.
I do have a thing that I really hope the show makes time for in its final 80 minutes, and I am almost certain they will not, which is like, where the heck is Mira Reed? Mira Reed is the curly-head girl whose brother was also, like a green seer, and he died, and she was with him, and then she dragged Bran around for seasons.
And then he said bye.
And then the last scene they had together was her being pissed and saying, "Was this really what it all was for me to come back and you to say bye?" And he was like, and if that really is what it all was for, and she never gets brought back again, like she's a good fighter. Why didn't they call the Reeds back to help fight in the battle for Winterfell? Like, why wasn't she brought back in any capacity? If we never see her again, I'm gonna never
Maybe
stop
they're a
holding that
lifeline
grudge.
against Dany and Dragon.
Maybe. I don't know. There were rumors that her father, a character named Howland Reed, who is more important in the books because he was friends with Ned Stark when he was a kid, he would have been there when Ned went to the Tower of Joy and took baby Jon back, that he might be in this season, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Might be disappointed.
Here's what's going to happen. I've got it all figured out. So, Grey Worm's going to kill Jon Snow. Jon Snow is going to be dead. Arya will take his face and kill Dany. Bran and the dragon will cancel each other out. They'll both be dead. Sansa will take the throne. Her ex-husband, Tyrion, will become the Hand. And Jon Snow will take the the dragon will be gone and he'll be dead. And then and Arya will go and find Gendry and live happily ever after.
Okay.
And Brienne goes a little unfair.
I'm okay with that. Anybody else want to give one last prediction before we? No.
Oh, yeah. Happily ever after.
With Ghost! Oh, with Ghost!
We're gonna save this damn show.
Woo! Save that show. Happy ever after. Okay, well, for tonight, at least our watch has ended. Thank you so much to our guest, Dave Demachek.
Where's his cake?
Oh, yeah,
Is it
sorry,
your
we don't have a
birthday?
cake.
I'll
If it was
take
your
it.
birthday, we'd bring you a cake.
Yeah, we
but
miss
it's not
you,
your
Cam.
birthday, so we can't
Take
bring
a
you a
cake
cake.
either
That's
way.
not how that works.
Or a pie.
Oh, that would be very on brand. Thanks to all of you for watching IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones, presented by Army National Guard. We will be back here next week for the last and final time. Only one more episode. And for more updates on Game of Thrones throughout the week, make sure to keep it locked on IGN.com. Bye.